Homelessness is an issue that's affected practically every country around the globe, and with the rise of COVID-19, that problem has not been helped much. Crisis says there are over 200,000 people living rough on the streets in the UK alone. Shelter says there's 274,000 this year.
There's a variety of reasons why people end up homeless, but I tend to use the analogy of a table. So if you can imagine a table in your head, and a table normally has 4 legs, and the tabletop represents homelessness, and the 4 table legs are what's preventing homelessness from happening. So that's your family and relationships. Now the number one reason is and always will be for homelessness is a family breakdown. In our case, it's a breakdown between parents or guardians with the young people that are living there. For older people, it could be the breakdown of a marriage or a partnership or whatever. So like 49% of the reasons why anybody came to St Basil's last year was a family breakdown. So that's one table leg. The other table leg will represent your ability to make money, so your job stroke education. So if someone loses a job, it puts a pressure on their finances, it impacts their ability to be able to pay a rent or mortgage. The third is your physical and mental well-being. A massive thing for people who experience homelessness for obvious reasons, because the strain of becoming homeless has a massive impact on people. And the fourth thing is actually the roof over your head. So homelessness, a lot of people associate homelessness with rough sleeping because it's the most visible form of homelessness. You see someone on the streets, they clearly don't have anywhere to stay, but homelessness actually means no fixed abode. What it means is you don't have a permanent address. So there's a lot of people who are sofa surfing, there's a lot of people who are in temporary accommodation. That's homelessness as well, and that's how, when you imagine the iceberg, as it were, the tip of the iceberg is rough sleeping, and then everything that goes with it. Now, back to that table analogy, it's the family relationships, it's the ability to make money, so your job stroke education, it's your physical and mental health, and it's the roof over your head. And all it takes is for one of those table legs to become unsteady, to come away, and the table may still stand, but at the very least it'll become unsteady. So you lose a job. It starts to impact other things like your mental and physical well-being. It starts to impact your relationships with your family, and it could impact the roof over your head. It came back through things like there was increasing issues with violence in family homes. This was something that was reported in the news, where a lot of issues around DV, domestic violence, was coming out. You were finding a lot of strain on families, where families were being furloughed, family members were being furloughed, or in some cases they'd been working 0-hour contracts, so they weren't able to make money, and that was putting a massive strain on the family, which putting a massive strain on the family relationships. Back to that analogy of the table, that is it in action. So if something was happening to one person in the family home, everybody else was feeling it. So as a result of it, we ended up seeing more people coming through our doors. I think one of the issues with the government is that they're so focused on crisis. We only tend to react when things get really bad. So quick example is around COVID, right? Where there was something called Everyone In, and it was a policy that the government had when this all kicked off. And basically, it's exactly what it says. What they did was they wanted to make sure everybody who was on the streets, who was rough sleeping, was somewhere. Because they had to get them off the streets, because, to be blunt, it was a public health issue. It's probably another question for another time, and I could go on for hours about it, but it did seem like it took that to happen before people cared, to be blunt.